Good afternoon, YouTube. How are you today? Things are going pretty good. It's 4:34 in the afternoon on the end of day 4 of hands-on training. Today was a very busy day. Lots of things going on, just breakneck, totally, almost all hands-on, very little classroom time today. We first came in this morning, did a quick review on linear steel loads, which includes shiny bar, gray bar, and pipe and things like that. And then we did our evaluations on those. They went pretty well for the most part. The only downside was it's been raining here in Little Rock all day, most of the day, and this morning the storms were pretty bad, so the power kept fluctuating in and out. And it was just a rough morning. There was no breakfast today, so I ended up having some blueberry powdered donuts out of the vending machine, and we didn't have breakfast because the new orientation people were having their medical today, and of course they take over the cafeteria for that, so no one gets breakfast. We all have to starve. But instead of that, after our evaluations, we headed down into the training bays and got to working on hands-on stuff. And it was a round robin today, focusing on 5 different stations, and we just kept moving from station to station to station and doing that thing, and we just kept repeating them all day. We did the stations we did were coiled rods, or what's called slinkies. They're basically big bundles of very thin wire that are wrapped together, and they use them for everything from making nails to fencing, barbed wire, all kinds of things like that. We also did steel plates. You've probably seen those where they lay them on the deck and chain them down. Palletized stuff, where stuff is put on pallets and put on the flatbed. We also did shingles, and there's a special policy here at Maverick for dealing with shingles because of securement issues. They had a rash of DOT violations not long ago, and they were all for the same exact thing, so they changed the policy so that would never happen again. We also went over gut strapping, but we really didn't do any of that. It's pretty much a fixture of doing what we're already doing. We also did a securement for granite today, as well as containers. That went all day long, all up to lunch, and then after lunch till about 3 o'clock. So we got about 6 hours, maybe 7 hours actually, in the training bays. Today's lunch, we hadn't had this one before, at least not while I was here. It was, the best I could call it would be chicken helper, basically. Not hamburger helper, but chicken helper. It was chicken with fettuccine noodles, not fettuccine noodles. It wasn't elbow macaroni, but it was ziti noodles, whatever. Macaroni with noodles and cheddar cheese, along with salad and garlic bread. It was okay. The garlic bread was the tastiest part of it, and it wasn't even all that garlicky. But at least it did the trick, getting us through after missing breakfast. Really today, that's all there was to it. There really wasn't, as far as generalized, we did this and then we did this and we did this. It was all a continuous process of doing it. If I remember right, we did the entire cycle of all the stations that we were working on, and there was 4 of them. There was a sheet metal station, a slinky station, a container station, and a marble station. We did those 4 in a round robin. And I think in my group of 3, or was it 4? I don't remember. We did it at least 3 times, and I know that I did the container station 2 more times after that. The way they do containers is completely different than the way I've seen it done before, and mostly that's because DOT has changed the regulations relating to how containers are secured. And the way they do it now, to me, seems a lot better than what I have seen in the past when securing containers to flatbeds. A few other observations on things. I noticed that the orientation system for the new hires this week seemed a little bit more chaotic than what it was for the week before. I do know that they only have 3 experienced drivers coming. None of them are return Maverick drivers that I saw. But it seemed like it took a lot longer today. I'm not really sure why that was. Maybe it was because of the rain or the constant power flashes. I'm not really too sure on that. In addition to all those other things we did today, they pulled us out a little bit to help break down everything we set up yesterday for the DOT medical stuff. After they had finally finished it all, that took about an hour and a half. Originally, it only took us about 35, 40 minutes to set it up. It took a lot longer to put it all back together. And I helped specifically with getting the desks back in place and rehooking up the network and getting things like that taken care of so they could put the laptops back in that training classroom. One thing I'm going to criticize, and I understand right off the front why Maverick does this, but for me, and probably everybody else for that matter, it's really becoming a redundant issue. In this industry, especially in flatbed, safety is number one, your personal safety, as well as the safety of the product and the motoring public. But since we're focused on loading and unloading materials and securing them, they really focus on making sure that you follow the proper procedures and have the proper habits when climbing up and down trailers, moving across loads, all those kinds of things. You know, from the way you make sure that you always tighten ratchet straps towards you, ratchet chains towards you, or trying whenever you can to make sure you do over center bars from the ground as opposed to being on a trailer. And if you are on the trailer, make sure you're always pushing away from you towards the center of the trailer, not towards the edges. It's all about falling off and breaking something and killing yourself. But they have a tendency in the presentations that they put up on the board with the PowerPoint and all that stuff in the videos to show us really gruesome photos of injuries that have occurred. One of them is a guy that had all his teeth knocked out because he wasn't using a winch bar correctly, and another one where a guy fell off the end of a thing and practically ripped his foot off. They keep showing these pictures, and it's really getting old. And in my opinion, this is just me, nothing against Maverick, but I think I understand that they want to continue to emphasize these habits, but they can either come up with some more photos, or they can maybe not push 2 or 3 of us on them every presentation. That's just me. I mean, I get it. Maybe it's mostly because the majority of the people that go through this system, these orientations, are brand new students who have never driven a truck before, and they have to hardcore impress what could happen to you if you don't do all the things they're supposed to say. 3 points of contact and all that stuff. I get it, but for me personally, I'm frankly just tired of seeing it. I'm very, very safe in my opinion. I don't do any of the things I'm supposed to do. I constantly remind myself, walk sideways along a trailer and using hand grips, so make sure I don't trip over anything if there's already securements down. I've always used 3 points of contact. I never walk backwards or jump off trailers or any of that stuff. So it's just my little nitpicky thing, and that's just me. I mean, sure, I need to be reminded of it, but I don't need to be shown gruesome pictures of it every time we have a discussion. That's pretty much it. Tomorrow we have, it's an evaluation day. We're pretty much done. We're going to discuss a couple of things, but I think for the most part, I do believe that we are done with actual training. They did say that we may do aluminum coils, which are strapped like palletized freight, but have more strap securements in the morning. I don't remember if they said we were going to do it down there or we're just going to go over the presentation on it, because like we did a couple of presentations that we actually didn't do any physical stuff for it because there's just kind of we talked about lumber and stuff like that, but we actually haven't done any lumber other than all the securement stuff that we practice with is wood. So, and then after that, and starting after lunch, is when we actually do our evaluations, our hands-on evaluations. And from my understanding, we're actually not going to be taking the item and putting it together and letting them grade it. They are going to, tonight or tomorrow, sometime, I don't know when, build everything that we've been working on. And they're going to do it correctly and then either leave it correct to see if we can identify that something's correct, or they're going to make mistakes, either subtle or blatant, and see if we catch them. And I do know that when we go to each station, there's going to be a book there that's going to tell us everything about that load. Okay, because you can't look at this stuff because it's practice material and really know what it is. I mean, if they have flat plywood laying down, you know it's supposed to be steel, sheets of steel. But if they got plastic pipe laying up there, you don't know whether it's linear, shiny bar, gray bar, or whatever. So, and when it's a coil, you don't know what kind of coil it is, slotted or whole, and other than knowing whether it's shotgun out of the sky or out of the side. So the little book tells you everything about the weight and what it actually is and so forth. And you're supposed to read that, and then you're supposed to look at it and then tell them, okay, this is right, this is right, this is right, that's wrong. And I'll have more details on it tomorrow because I plan on taking copious notes for my own benefit, and I'll leak the secrets to you guys. How does that sound? Other than that, and then once that's done, we're done. It's my understanding that on Wednesday there's a bunch more kind of HR-y kind of stuff going on. We're supposed to meet our fleet managers and things like that, as well as do some more paperwork. And I'm not quite sure what else. I do know that supposedly on Wednesday or Thursday morning, I don't know which, I'm supposed to go down to get my TWIC card paperwork taken care of. I've already filed for it, but I need to go down, present myself to give them my fingerprints for the 900,000th time of my life. If they don't have them from when I was in the military, they got a problem because they haven't changed. And present my birth certificate to prove that I am who I am, and along with my driver's license and social security card, so they can process my TWIC. The thing about the TWIC cards, and for those of you that don't know, TWIC stands for Transportation Workers Identification Card. It's just another ID for them to have, for you to get, to have to pay for, so they make more money on something they already make money on. But basically, the TWIC card is designed for truckers or other transportation people to enter ports or rail yards that are supposedly secure to get material. So I'm supposed to go give them this card so I can go inside and get my materials, and that card is supposed to prove to them that I'm not some kind of, I guess, mad bomber or terrorist or whatever. I don't know. The worst thing I could do is vape smoke in their face. So I'm supposed to do that either tomorrow or Thursday, and we've been told that there are trucks on the yard and that we will be turned over to operations on Thursday morning, and we will get our trucks on Thursday or Friday morning, depending. So if I get my truck on Thursday, that means I'll be able to get a load and go home like they promised and spend the weekend at home. If not, then I'll have to probably pull a load, spend Saturday or Sunday at home, and then go back to work. I'm looking forward to going to work, but I would like to go home and see my wife and kids for just a little bit at least. So that's it. It's a long video for not much content. I apologize for that. I get to rambling. So if you've enjoyed this video or any of the others, please take a moment to subscribe and follow me. There's going to be more coming, especially once your orientation and training and all that jazz is done. So take a moment, do that. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below, or you can email me at my email, which is listed on YouTube, or I'll see you on TTR. So you have a really, really good day. It looks like the rain is finally let up, and I'm going to go back to the hotel and relax. Keep the shiny side up. 73s. I'll talk to you tomorrow.